We are back to the East Coast and one of the original 13 colonies. Hey everyone, this is episode 176 of the Dorky Geeky Nerdy Trivia Podcast. This week we're up in New England with 30 questions all about New Hampshire trivia. If you're new to the show, welcome. Every week we offer 3 rounds of 10 questions each. This season we're driving through the United States with 1 episode per state. You can visit the show's website, dorkygeekynerdy.com, to find past shows along with transcripts to help follow along. I do have one bit of news to announce. With last week's Ohio episode, this show has broken 100,000 downloads. Sure, it's not massive numbers, but it's a big milestone, and I want to thank everyone who's listening. Whether you're just starting out with us or you've been here since the get-go, thanks for your support. I think that covers the basics, so let's get this show started. The Dorky Round. Number 1. What native of Derry, New Hampshire became the second person and the first American in space? Alan Shepard. He also walked on the moon in 1971. Number 2. Born in Exeter, New Hampshire, what thriller author became a massive success after the publication of The Da Vinci Code? Dan Brown. Number 3. What play set in Grover's Corners is the most performed play in the United States? Our Town by Thornton Wilder. Number 4. What 1995 movie was set in New Hampshire, directed by Joe Johnston, and starred Robin Williams, along with some questionable CGI animals? Jumanji. Number 5. New Hampshire is named after a county in what country? England. Number 6. What Canadian province borders New Hampshire? Quebec. Number 8. When it comes to presidential elections, New Hampshire is known for being the first what every 4 years? They hold the first presidential primary. Interesting note, they are pretty inaccurate in predicting the Democratic nominee, but fairly accurate in predicting the Republican nominee. Number 9. New Hampshire is the only state to not require the wearing of what while driving? Seat belts. Also, motorcycle helmets. Number 10. What state borders New Hampshire to the south? Massachusetts. The Geeky Round. Number 1. What is the capital of New Hampshire? Concord. Number 2. What is the state's official nickname? The Granite State. Number 3. What TV series in the early 2000s featured a fictional president from New Hampshire? The West Wing. The president, Josiah Bartlett, is alluded to being a descendant of the first New Hampshire governor and Declaration of Independence signatory of the same name. Number 4. New Hampshire brothers Richard and Maurice would open the first of what restaurant chain in 1940? McDonald's. Number 5. Set in New Hampshire, what 1991 movie starred Bill Murray and Richard Dreyfuss and was directed by Frank Oz? What About Bob? Number 6. What 1962 movie was directed by Stanley Kubrick and starred James Mason as Humbert Humbert? Lolita. Number 7. What state shares its only U.S. border with New Hampshire? Maine. You might remember from episode 165 that Maine is the only state that borders just one other state. Number 8. What geological feature graces New Hampshire's Great Seal, their license plate, and their state quarter? The Old Man in the Mountain. Number 9. In terms of population, what is the largest city in New Hampshire? Manchester. It's nearly 3 times as big as the capital. Number 10. Of the 8 Ivy League schools, which is the only one in New Hampshire? Dartmouth College. The Nerdy Round. Number 1. Who is the only U.S. president from New Hampshire? Franklin Pierce. He was born in Hillsborough and died in Concord. Number 2. What is the state motto of New Hampshire? Live free or die. If you ever forget, just check a New Hampshire license plate. Number 3. What 1981 film starred Katharine Hepburn along with father and daughter Henry and Jane Fonda? On Golden Pond. Number 4. Adam Sandler seems to have a thing for New Hampshire. Click, Mr. Deeds, and what animated Hanukkah film all take place there? Eight Crazy Nights. Number 5. New Hampshire is the only state to offer what alpine event as a high school sport? Ski jumping. Number 6. In terms of poverty, where does New Hampshire rank in the U.S.? It's last. New Hampshire has the lowest poverty rate in the United States. Number 7. What is the largest lake in New Hampshire? Lake Winnipesaukee. I swear, prior to researching this episode, I thought that was a made-up name used in movies and cartoons for a laugh. Number 8. New Hampshire opened the first public tax-supported what in the United States? The first public tax-supported library. It was in Petersboro, New Hampshire in 1833. Number 9. The Treaty of Portsmouth in 1905 ended what war? The Russo-Japanese War. Teddy Roosevelt negotiated the talks and won a Nobel Peace Prize for it. Number 10. What mode of Arctic transportation was invented in Ossipee, New Hampshire? The snowmobile. And we're done. Like all of New England, I haven't yet visited New Hampshire, but I hope to one day. Want some bonus facts about the state? Well, the highest point is Mount Washington. In 1934, they measured wind speed up to 231 miles per hour. That's the fastest wind ever recorded that wasn't associated with a tornado or tropical cyclone. New Hampshire has no state income tax. It was the 9th state to join the U.S. In population, New Hampshire ranks 42nd. In size, the state ranks 46th. If you're like me and you can never tell Vermont and New Hampshire apart on the map, use this little trick. Vermont is shaped like a V, smaller at the bottom, and New Hampshire is sort of shaped like a lowercase n, smaller at the top. Hope that helps. So, New Hampshireites, what's the one cool thing that we have to see when we're there? Also, have you figured out the order of these episodes? I know at least 2 people have reached out with the answer. It's not super hard. But if you haven't puzzled it out, maybe next week's episode will help. Speaking of which, here's your clue. What state boasts the longest continuous street in the United States? Obscure and weird, but if you're from there, you probably know this fact. Make sure you're back here next Wednesday for a new episode. This has been episode 176 of the Dorky Geeky Nerdy Trivia Podcast. The music has been by Jason Shaw at audionautics.com. I'm your host, Brian Rollins. You can find me at thevoicesinmyhead.com. Thanks for listening.